Hello everyone. In the previous class we have discussed about the separate system, combined system, conservancy system and the suitability of the separate, combined and partially separate and partially combined system. Okay. In today's class we will discuss about the estimation of stormwater flow. Okay. See, in the previous class we have discussed about while designing the sewers we have to take two flows into account. One is the dry weather flow and the other is wet weather flow. So dry weather flow is directly taken with the help of the rate of water supply, and 70 to 85% of the water supply will come out as waste water. Okay, so that is with respect to dry weather flow. So wet weather flow consists of the storm water flow. So how to estimate this storm water flow, that is how to quantify this water, so for which you have to decide the size of the sewers, okay, and other parameters like velocity and discharge, okay, so as to have the efficient working sewerage system. To estimate the storm water flow we have broadly two methods, that is one is rational method and second one is empirical formulas method. Okay, in both the methods the estimation of stormwater flow is a function of the area and intensity and coefficient of runoff. Okay, so we will see in detail how to estimate the stormwater flow using these methods. Okay, here if the rainfall intensity is and duration is more, large area of stormwater will be available. Here what happens when the rainfall occurs, so rainfall pattern you might have studied in your hydrology subject, so where we have the drizzle or storm or heavy rainfall depending upon the different types of precipitation. Okay, so in this case if the rainfall takes place very slowly, even if it continues for the whole day, the quantity of storm water available will be less, because what happens if the intensity is very low, then slowly the water tries to percolate and the available runoff will be usually less if the surface is more porous. So on the other hand, if you have a hard surface, then the rate of percolation will be less, and if the catchment area is more, and accordingly the storm water quantity will be more. Okay, so similarly if you have a fan shaped and steep areas, it contribute more quantity of storm water. Okay, because of the steepness the runoff will be more. Okay, so in addition to above parameters, the stormwater quantity also depends on the temperature, humidity, wind. Okay, so temperature of, if the temperature of the area is, the ambient temperature is more, the rate of evaporation will be more, so and the rate of runoff will be less. Okay, similarly if you have a very high rate of wind velocity at a particular region where the rainfall is occurring, so it will move the clouds away, and so that the rainfall occurring over a particular area for a particular time, it starts to reduce. Okay, so likewise it depends on the different parameters which is shown here in this slide. Okay, so these are the two different methods. Okay, so coming to this rational method, it is given by an equation Q is equal to CIA divided by 360. Okay, so this formula is called as rational formula, that is Q is equal to CIA divided by 360. Okay, so here Q is the quantity of storm water in meter cube per second. Okay, C is the coefficient of runoff. Okay, so this coefficient of runoff is a constant and it depends upon the type of the surface. Okay, and here I is the intensity of the rainfall. Okay, so here you might have seen that at various places, especially by the Ministry of Irrigation and the Department of Meteorology, those people have installed the rain gauge stations at various locations at a significant points throughout the country. Okay, so from that office or from that rain gauge station we can get how much rainfall is occurring on that particular day, on a particular time, at a particular place. Okay, so that is the intensity of the rainfall, which is usually measured in terms of millimeter per hour or centimeter per hour depending upon the intensity, and A is the area of drainage. Okay, so for example, you are living in a Davangere city, so if it is having the 100 hectares of area, then that is the area of the drainage. If the rainfall occurs over 100 hectares of an area, then that is called as area of the drainage. Considering all these things, you will get the quantity of the rainfall using this equation. Okay, here like I told you, when the rainfall occurs, the part of the portion of the rainfall it percolates into the ground, and a portion of the rainwater it gets evaporated, and the other portion is stored in ponds and ditches, and only the remaining portion of the rainwater reaches the sewer line. Okay, if you take a city or a place wherever the rainfall occurs, you will see different parameters, like you may be having open ground, you may be having hard surfaces, you may be having the plain land, you may be having a steep portion, or also you may have some storage reservoirs like ponds and small ditches wherein some amount of water gets stored, and the other part whatever which overflows onto the land, so that will reach the sewer lines. Okay, here the runoff coefficient depends mainly on the characteristics of the ground surface, it is porosity, wetness, ground cover, etc. Here it varies from the value of 0.01 for forest or for wooded area to 0.95 for a water type roof surfaces. That is the value of C. It varies depending upon the type of the surface. So there is a table which gives you the coefficient of runoff value for different types of surfaces. Okay, so like I told you, a city or a locality consists of different types of areas. Okay, for example, if you take this city, you will have the hard pavement surfaces, you have open lands, you have rooftop paved areas. Okay, so which will not allow much of water. So in that case, okay, you have to calculate the areas with respect to the particular type of an area with respect to the accordingly you have to multiply that area with the respective coefficient of runoff. Okay, so to find out the cumulative or runoff coefficient for the whole area, so we will do the summation of different areas here. Okay, so the coefficient of runoff is given by C1 into A1 plus A2 into C2 plus A3 into C3 up to AN into Cn divided by A1 plus A2 plus A3 up to AN. Okay, so here A1 is the area 1 and C1 is the runoff coefficient of that particular area. Similarly, A2 is the area of another portion in a city, and C2 is the respective area of the coefficient. Okay, so just to make you understand, let us take the example of a city. Okay, so where you have three different types of areas. Of course there will be different types of areas, so just to for the sake of example we can take different types of areas. Here A1 is hard rooftop pavement, so A2 is plain land, and A3 is some porous forest land or open ground. Okay, so that A1 may be 100 hectares, so A2 may be 150 hectares, A3 may be 200 hectares, and C1 may be around 0.75, C2 may be 0.5, and C3 may be 0.45 depending upon the type of the surface. Okay, so if you add A1 C1 up to AN CN, if you divide it by all the areas, you will get the total runoff coefficient for the particular area under consideration. Okay, so similarly, so people have done different experiments, and they have given some C values for different types of surfaces. Okay, in a city, if you take, you have all these types of areas. You have watertight roof over your buildings and all. Okay, like if you take the example of our institute, so we have a watertight roof surface. So for that watertight roof surface, the coefficient of runoff varies between 0.7 to 0.95. So if it is an asphalted cement streets, it varies between 0.85 to 0.90. If it is a cement streets, then it varies between 0.8 to 0.95. If it is paved driveways and walkway, then the coefficient runoff varies between 0.75 to 0.85. If it is a gravel driveway and walks, it is 0.15 to 0.30. If it is single residential family areas, then it varies 0.30 to 0.5. If it is multi-units detached, it varies between 0.4 to 0.6. So multi-units attached suburban, it varies between 0.25 to 0.40. If you have the lawns and sandy soil with 2% slope, then the coefficient of runoff varies 0.05 to 0.1. If the slope is in between 2 to 7%, the coefficient of runoff varies between 0.1 to 0.15. If it is greater than 7%, it is 0.15 to 0.2. If it is a lawn, okay, so if you take your campus, we have around 54 acres of campus, you will find all these areas. If you want to find out the runoff for this campus, then you should take into account of all different surfaces which are listed here. Okay, so if you have the lawn, then the coefficient of runoff will be in the range of 0.13 to 0.17. Okay, so if you can observe here, you will see the coefficient of runoff goes on increases if you have the hard surfaces. Okay, see, for lawns and for the porous soil and all, the value is relatively little lesser. Okay, as you go upwards, if you have a watertight roof, it goes on increases. Okay, so that is for obvious reason that for the porous land and for lawns and all, you will have the soil, so which will absorb much of the water. That's why the coefficient of runoff will be less. Okay, so if you have a watertight roofs and asphalt and cement roads, the coefficient of runoff will be more. Okay, and coming to the empirical formulas. Okay, so various scientists have worked and they have got their own empirical relationship based on the areas of their work, and so it also again depends on the catchment area, intensity of the rainfall, the relative imperviousness of the soil, and the slope of the ground. Okay, some of the leading empirical formulas can also be used for the estimation of the storm water. Okay, so here one such formula is called as Berkeley-Ziegler formula. Okay, so it is devised by a Swiss engineer. In short course of time, it was also accepted by USA. Okay, and it is the earliest form of empirical formula for working out the quantity of storm water. Okay, it is given as follows: Q is equal to 296 CRA under 4th root S divided by A. Okay, so here you can see Q is the runoff in liters per second. C is the constant. It depends on the nature of ground surface. Its value varies from 0.5 to 0.9. Okay, average you can take it as 0.70. Like I told you, it is different for different surfaces. That's why in this formula they are taking it as average of 0.70. Here R is the maximum rate of rainfall in mm per hour over the entire area, and here A is area in terms of hectares. Okay, and S is the slope in meter per 1000 meter length of the sewer. Okay, so this is Berkeley-Ziegler formula. Similarly, you have McMahon's formula. Okay, so it is also developed in USA it is developed by St. Louis. It is given by Q is equal to 292 CRA 5th root S divided by A. So here where Q, C, R and A and S are same as above. Here the value of constant varies from 0.3 to 0.9. Here you can see the value of C varies from person to person or scientist to scientist. Like I told you, these were done based on their locations, their local conditions. So that's why the value keeps on varying depending upon the area where they have devised this formula based on their experimental works. Okay, so here Q is again the runoff, C is the coefficient of runoff, R is the intensity of rainfall, A is the area of drainage, and S is the slope. Then you have the Metcalfe and Eddy's formula. Okay, so this formula is adopted for storms occurring on small areas. Okay, it can be noted that the formula contains only area in its expression. Okay, so this formula will not take into account the coefficient of runoff. Okay, so that's why there is a limitation that this can be adopted only for the smaller areas of the catchment. It is given by Q is equal to 28.316 25,000 over 2.471 A plus 125 plus 15. Okay, so this can be used to find the quantity of storm water. Okay, so there is another formula called as Fanning's formula. It is given by Q is equal to 3125 m to the power of 5 divided by 8. Okay, here Q is equal to runoff in liters per second, m is the area in kilometers square. Okay, so here you can also see that the area in some formulas is in terms of hectares, in some formulas it is in terms of kilometer square. That unit should be carefully noted before you estimate the runoff using the any particular kind of formulas. So then you have the Tableau's formula. It is given by Q is equal to 87,000 m to the power of 1 by 4, where Q and m are same as the above. Okay, then you have Dickens formula. Q is equal to 14 cm to the power of 3 by 4, where Q and m are same as above, and where m is the area and C is the constant. Okay, and Q is the quantity in terms of meter cube per second. So this formula is suitable for conditions prevailing in North India. Okay, so this is specifically devised by the for the North Indian conditions. That is, so this formula is suitable in North India, wherein the people who have extensively worked in this area has devised this formula. Here C is equal to 250 for very large areas, and C is equal to 850 for areas of average size having 600 to 1250 mm of annual rainfall. Okay, and it is value of C is equal to 1600 for small areas. Okay, similarly we have Rives formula. It is given by Q is equal to 15 cm to the power of T2 by 3. Okay, here also Q and M are same. Okay, so this formula is suited for conditions prevailing in South India. Okay, so the value of constant varies between 450 to 675. Okay, so even though we can see the scientist name as Dickens and Rives. Okay, so during the time of British era, maybe they might have named this formula based on the scientists or governors at that time who have devised this formula for estimating the runoff. Okay, so then you have English formula. So it is given by Q is equal to 123,100 m divided by under root m plus 10.36, where Q and m are same as above. Okay, so this formula is devised for the old Bombay presidency. Okay, so North and South India, and this is for Bombay. Okay, as you can see the difference. Okay, South, North and Bombay presidency. So at that times, okay, so Bombay and presently Mumbai, so is a coastal city, so which will have the more which will receive usually more rainfall and all. Okay, so it depends, like you can see the difference in the formulas, it varies from place to place and the local condition. Okay, so then you have a term called as time of concentration. Okay, so the time of concentration is defined as the longest time without unreasonable delay that will be required for a drop of water to flow from the farther point of the drainage area to the point of concentration. that is the point at which maximum runoff is being estimated. Okay, so in other words, it is the time required for the flood discharge to reach the maximum limit. Okay, so here what happens, so this time is important while you design the sewers. Okay, so when the rainfall has just started all over the catchment area simultaneously, the raindrops falling just near the sewer inlet will enter the sewer first. Okay, so that is for obvious reason that, so whenever there is a sewer, okay, if the rainfall occurs, the nearest rainfall which has dropped in near the sewer will enter the first into the sewer. Okay, the rate of flow at this stage will be very small because it will be the beginning of the rainfall. Here at that time the rate of flow will be small. Okay, so but it will gradually increases as more and more area continues to contribute to the flow. Okay, so if the intensity is more, then slowly the flow in the sewer starts to increase due to the increase in the quantity of the rainfall over a longer period of time. Okay, so finally when the whole area is contributing, maximum rate of runoff will be obtained, which will be equal to the rate of precipitation over the whole of the impervious area. Okay, so then at the time required from the beginning of the rainfall to the one corresponding to them achieved of maximum rate of runoff will continue till the rainfall stops. Okay, so if you analyze closely, whenever the rainfall occurs initially, then water will slowly flow over the land and it will reach the sewer, and after a certain time the flow will start to increase. Okay, when there is a peak rainfall or maximum runoff over a drainage area, and as soon as the rainfall stops, okay, then the runoff will gradually decrease. Okay, so this is the natural phenomena, okay, so which will happen during the rainfall. Okay, and it is expressed using this concept of time of concentration. Okay, so for the ease of understanding, okay, so this is divided into two components. One is called as time of entry and time of flow. Okay, if you see here, okay, so this is the catchment area and this is the point of consideration in a sewer. Okay, so this is the A, B, C are different types of drainage areas. Okay, so whenever the rainfall occurs, if you consider this as the catchment, okay, so here the time of entry is taken as the time taken by the farthest point to the point of entry of the sewer. Okay, so that is called as TE or time of entry. Okay, so this time of entry decreases with the increase in slope and impervious of the ground. Okay, so while it increases with distance and storage conditions of the ground. Okay, so that is, if you have a very slopy area or a slopy terrain, the water will reach at a faster rate. Similarly, on the other hand, if you have a flat ground or a more pervious soil, then the time of entry will reduce or it decreases. Okay, in a normal practice it is assumed between 3 to 20 minutes, the lower being adopted for the sea-paced slopes, while the higher value is adopted for the grassy plots. Okay, so this is called as time of entry. It is the time taken by a drop of water to reach the mouth of the sewer from the farthest point in the catchment area. Okay, so then we have something called as time of flow. Okay, so time of flow is the time required for the flow of water in the sewer to the point under consideration. Okay, so when the sewer reaches its when the rainfall reaches the mouth of the sewer, then the flow will start to increase. Okay, so that is called as time of flow. Okay, so under consideration it is defined as the distance divided by velocity. Okay, the time so computed is usually less than the actual time for the flow crust to reach the point of concentration from the sewer inlet because of the time required to fill the sewer. Okay, so that time we call it as the time of the storage. Okay, so but it is usually neglected. The total time of concentration TC is given by TE plus TF. Okay, here TE is the time of entry and TF is the time of flow. It is given by the distance traveled divided by the velocity with which the water is traveling. Okay, and it can be noted that larger the catchment area, the longer will be the time of concentration. Okay, so that means if you have a sewer at this point and if you have a very big catchment like this here, okay, so the time required by the rainfall drop to travel from the farthest point will be usually more. Okay, this is for the obvious reason that the distance will be more from the sewer in a large catchment area. If you have a very small catchment area like this, okay, then the water will enter at a faster pace. Okay, so that is the meaning of the statement here. Okay, it is generally considered that the maximum runoff occurs when the duration of storm is equal to the time of concentration. Okay, so then there is a formula which is devised by Margolin and Lindsay, and it is used for the estimation of the time of concentration. Okay, so time of concentration in minutes is given by 0.94 small l capital small n capital L whole to the power of 0.6 divided by I to the power of 0.4 and s to the power of 0.3. Here Tc is the time of concentration in minutes, I is the design intensity of rainfall in inches per hour, so n is the Manning surface roughness, L is the length of flow in terms of feet, S is the slope of the flow. Okay, so it is a dimensionless quantity. So this formula will give you the time of concentration in the minutes if you know the intensity of rainfall and roughness coefficient and length of the flow. Okay, so then we have something called as Kirpich formula. Okay, so this can also be used to find out the time of concentration. Okay, so here Tc is given by 0.0078 inside the bracket L to the power of 3 divided by H to the power of 0.385. Okay, here Tc is the time of concentration in minutes, L is the length of main channel in terms of feet, and H is the relief along the main channel. The Kirpich method is limited to watershed with a drainage area of about 200 hectares. Okay, this is the limitation of this Kirpich formula. Okay, see that's all for today. So today in this class we have studied about the estimation of the rainfall or storm water using the two different methods. One is by the rational method and the empirical methods by using different formulas. Okay, so nowadays the trend is we have to recycle and reuse the rainwater as far as possible for the sake of our future. That's because most of the cities are facing water shortages. So it is one of the best possible solution to collect the rainwater and reuse it for the different purposes. Okay, nowadays so many cities in part of their smart city missions and plans, okay, so they are planning to collect the storm water by constructing the storm water drains. You might have also seen in our city the work is going on, and all that wastewater or rooftop rainwater and storm water is being collected, and maybe that can be collected in a pond or a river, and that water can be treated and can be reused for supplying the water for different purposes. Okay, so that's why so there is a recent trend, and we should aim for as far as possible to recycle and reuse the rainwater, okay, for to meet the growing demands of the population and also the industrial demand. Okay.